This June brings together several extraordinary energies, each of them already intense, but in combination they create the strongest energetic concentration of the entire year. Mars is in a highly critical position, and at the same time the Sun and Jupiter meet in a very special lunar mansion. This activates deep karmic cycles. What exactly this means for you personally, but also for the world at large, we will explore in a moment. But first, a warm welcome here on my YouTube channel. My name is Sylvia Soyadaya Krupp, and I'm a professional Vedic astrologer. And if you are interested in learning Vedic astrology, this is the science of the light, check the links below this video. You can learn it together with me online. And you also find the information to order your own Vedic astrology birth horoscope. Because you cannot use a Western horoscope, Vedic astrology is a completely different system. But now let's start. And we will also explore in this video the horoscopes of key countries: the United States, Iran, Israel, Ukraine, and a brief look at India and Pakistan. Make sure to stay with me until the end, because I will share key information all the way through. This will be a very special month, and what these strong energies will bring, we are about to find out. Let us first take a look at what already manifested from the predictions I made back in May. In my May update, I said that Pluto's retrograde motion would shake the old shadows, especially those built on fear, control, and hidden power structures. And that is exactly what we have now seen, not just in theory, but on the world stage. In the United States, National Security Advisor Mike Waltz had to resign. Officially, it was due to a communication error on the Signal app, where he leaked secret military operations data. But behind the scenes, something very different came to light. He had planned a war against Iran in secret cooperation with Netanyahu. And all of this behind Donald Trump's back. This is exactly how Pluto retrograde in Capricorn works. Hidden power structures can no longer remain hidden. Pluto retrograde in Capricorn, together with Saturn in the lunar mansion Purva and Uttara Bhadrapada, this opens a phase of deep karmic confrontation with the abuse of power. My weather predictions about tectonic tension, which I had mentioned in my daily updates, also came true exactly on the day I spoke about them. There was a strong earthquake of magnitude 6.1 in the east of Crete, and 2 more earthquakes followed. But now let us look at what is happening in June. On May the 29th, the lunar nodes shift. Rahu will move into the sign of Aquarius and Ketu into Leo. I already spoke about this in detail in the May update, but I want to remind you again what this means on a deeper level. A new karmic cycle has begun. Rahu in Aquarius brings topics like technology, collective awareness, new social system, and also artificial intelligence into focus. And Ketu in Leo, on the other hand, dissolves old ideas of leadership, ego-based power, and outdated self-presentation. And exactly within this energetic backdrop, the special planetary alignments of June unfold, involving Mars, the Sun, Jupiter, and the growing closeness between Saturn and Neptune. We are entering a new collective chapter, and this month will play a key role in which direction we move, both as individuals and as a global community. From May 31 until June the 9th, Mars is in Gandanta, one of the most sensitive points in the whole zodiac. Gandanta describes the transition between a water sign and a fire sign. It is a time span out of control, and in this case from Cancer to Leo. It is a place that activates old karmic issues, brings deep emotional patterns to the surface, and often triggers tension, conflict, and sudden turning points. Mars is the planet of fire, action, but also conflict. When it moves through this area, it brings a strong feeling of restlessness, overreaction, and the sense that something could explode, both inside and outside. This phase becomes even more intense because of Mars' proximity to the Hydra fixed stars. This is a dark, chaotic energy, connected to manipulation, illusion, and suppressed aggression. When Mars touches this frequency, it can either strengthen control systems or completely break them down. On the global level, this is a dangerous phase, and regions like Taiwan, Ukraine, the Middle East, India, and Pakistan may once again move into focus, with new threats, military tension, or aggressive shifts in power. Mars is not a patient planet, and Gandanta is not a place that allows half-truths. On a personal level, this is an invitation to radical honesty. Where are you still holding anger that you have been suppressing? Where are you reacting out of fear instead of clarity? And what is it time to let go of now? Not through force, but through conscious transformation. How this Mars energy shows up for you, whether as courage, as a breakthrough, or as pressure from outside, depends greatly on which house this transit activates in your personal chart, and how you choose to work with it. And if you do not have a Vedic horoscope, you can order it in our online shop. Check the link here. You will get it with an amazing PDF where you find a lot of descriptions how to read a horoscope. The planets. We have really to understand the planets do not control us. They provide the energetic framework. But it is always up to us how we express that energy, positively or negatively. If you know which house Mars is currently transiting in Gandanta, you will also understand which area of life is being activated for you right now. And later in this video, we will also look at the horoscopes of several countries, because Mars in Gandanta does not only work on a personal level. It can also manifest collectively in politics, leadership, foreign affairs, and sudden global events, especially where tension is already high. But this intense energy from Mars does not stand alone. Something much bigger is building in the background, a moment where consciousness and truth meet. Because on June the 24th, the Sun and planet Jupiter, they will come into an exact conjunction. And this happens in one of the most powerful and transformative lunar mansions, Ardra. The Sun moves into Gemini on June the 15th, and from that moment the stage is set. Jupiter is already there, and on June the 24th, the exact conjunction happens in Ardra. Ardra is one of the most intense and demanding nakshatras. It is a lunar mansion that brings often tears, sadness, breakdown, deep purification. But also often it brings clarity at the end, which only comes after the storm. When the Sun, symbol of the self, of awareness and inner light, meets Jupiter, the planet of truth, of expansion and higher order, this is not about success or prestige. It is about seeing the truth behind the mask. Ardra does not want you to keep functioning just to keep up appearances. Ardra wants you to become real. This conjunction can shake many things. Your belief system, your personal truth, and also spiritual authorities, both on a personal but also collective level. And there is another layer. This energy may also bring more polarization, more black and white thinking, more threats, and less diplomacy. And what makes this conjunction even more powerful, just one day later, during the new moon on June the 25th, the Sun, Moon, and Jupiter will all meet almost exactly at the same degree in Ardra. This is not an ordinary conjunction. This is an energetic turning point, where a new spiritual matrix is being activated. What does this mean for you personally? Wherever this conjunction falls in your birth chart, that is where you are now being asked to see through illusions, not out of mistrust, but out of a new level of clarity, not out of fear, but from a place of awareness. And on the global level, this alignment happens at a time of intense political narratives and manipulative media reporting. We are already seeing how strongly the media, both mainstream and alternative, are driven by division. Each side is trying to define itself by distancing from the other. Each is defending its own version of truth. This dynamic, almost inevitably, leads to social confrontation and to growing political tension, which may continue to escalate throughout this month. Just one day after the Sun-Jupiter conjunction, we have this new moon on June 25 in Gemini, also in Ardra, and almost exactly at the same degree with the Sun and Jupiter. This means this energy is really highly activated. A new moon always brings the chance for a fresh beginning. But in Ardra, a new beginning does not come lightly. It comes with a storm, with intensity, with emotional disturbance, and deep mental realignment. When the Sun, Moon, and Jupiter meet in this nakshatra, it is a chance to ask yourself, how much are you influenced by the information you consume? Which thought pattern have you absorbed but never questioned? Where are you still following a story that no longer feels true to you? The energy of this new moon can be deeply emotional because it stirs up what you may have tried to explain away or to ignore. But that is the power. It tears away the veil so that you can become truly free. And there is one more important layer to all of this, and this is the financial system. With Uranus in Taurus and Jupiter and the Sun in Gemini, the message is very clear. Taurus represents values, possessions, and stability. Gemini stands for commerce, for information, systems, and exchange. When these two energies are activated at the same time, we may see sudden changes in the world of money, especially around digital currencies, surveillance, banking structures, and control. We have already seen for months a global move towards central bank digital currencies, a process clearly mirrored in the astrology of Uranus in Taurus. And now, with Jupiter and the Sun in Ardra, the narrative side of this shift becomes visible. Who is really steering the system? Who decides what is valuable? And where does the manipulation of financial information begin? So this time brings not only emotional and mental tests, it shows us what it really means to be free or dependent. Now let us turn to the country horoscopes. We begin with India and Pakistan. For India, the conjunction of the Sun and Jupiter on June 24 takes place in India's second house, together with Mars, Gulika, Mandi and Upaketu. This house represents national values, finances and communication, and the fact that Mars rules the 7th and the 12th house adds geopolitical weight. This activation could bring financial tension but also diplomatic strain, especially in international relations or hidden agreements. With Ardra involved, something concealed may now come to light. And adding to this, from the end of May till June the 9th, Mars transits through Gandanta, crossing from Cancer into Leo, a very sensitive point. And at the same time, India's natal Sun sits at 27 degrees in Cancer, ruling the 4th house, the land, the national integrity, and domestic stability. This may signal increased pressure or a trigger in connection to border conflicts or internal unrest. Given current regional dynamics, especially with Pakistan, this period requires awareness and caution. For Pakistan. In Pakistan's chart, the Sun-Jupiter conjunction in Ardra takes place in the 3rd house, the area of communication, military action, and short-term alliances. Just like in India's chart, Mars, Gulika, and Mandi are also present in this house, with Mars sitting at 7 degrees. This creates also an extremely volatile communication climate. The 3rd house is also related to border activity and tactical decisions. So this alignment can bring military escalation, propaganda, or an impulsive move. From May the 31 1 to June the 9th, Mars crosses Cancer into Leo, passing directly over Pakistan's natal sun, also at 27 degrees in Cancer, the same degree as India. This Mars transit could ignite military intentions, strategic power plays, or diplomatic aggression. With both nations having natal suns on this critical degree, this shared Mars Gandanta activation increases the risk of tension or mirrored conflict. For the United States, for June 2025, there is a great deal of activity in the 7th house. The house of relationships, treaties, public image, open enemies, and diplomatic alliances. In the country's birth chart, Mars, Venus, Jupiter, and the Sun are all located here, in the sign of Gemini. And this makes the 7th house a central focal point. On June 24th, this conjunction of Sun and Jupiter takes place here in the lunar mansion Adra, creating an energetic epicenter with far-reaching consequences. The 7th house also rules how the nation presents itself to the world, what is being shown, and what lies underneath. With so many planets involved, including Mars, we can expect significant foreign policy shifts, the end of existing agreements, the formation of new alliances, the emergence of new enemies, or a strategic repositioning, driven by force rather than diplomacy. Adra does not bring smooth diplomacy. It brings truth and possibly confrontation. The full moon in Scorpio, falling in the 12th house where Ketu is placed, may bring further challenges in international relations. It also holds the potential to bring something to a final close, to release, or to allow new strategies to form behind closed doors. Opposite this, Uranus is in the transit in the 6th house in Taurus. The 6th house rules conflicts, the military, labor, national stability, and internal enemies. Uranus placement suggests domestic challenges, especially around the economic and the funding, or also military actions. Mars also changes houses this month, moving from the 8th house Cancer into the 9th house Leo. In the 8th house, Mars acts behind the scenes. But as soon as Mars enters the 9th house, its energy becomes open, visible, and international. The 9th house governs law, religion, global relations, ideologies, and also justice. Mars brings assertiveness, but also conflict with established belief systems. This is very present in the United States right now, with growing ideological tension in universities, legal interpretations, and the media. The current debates about freedom of speech at elite institutions like Harvard are only one expression of this. It raises the deeper question, what is allowed to be said, and who decides what the truth is. And this highlights issues around media, language, narrative control, and public communication. It is not longer just about what is being said, but about what is allowed to be said. And We will see how this energy will unfold. It can bring world views clash, loudly and ideologically charged, and with the power to transform the entire legal or educational framework of the country. In short, this is an intense time with massive potential for change. Let's check short. Ukraine, June 2025. In Ukraine's chart, Jupiter and the Sun meet in the 6th house in the sign of Gemini, where Ketu is placed. The 6th house represents war, enemies, conflict, debt, and daily struggles. This conjunction in Ardra, together with Ketu, suggests a critical karmic turning point, possibly a major shift in the topic of war, or even the collapse of existing power structures. Opposite in Sagittarius, we find retrograde Neptune and Uranus along with Duma. This is also a shadow point of the Sun. This indicates confusion, deception, and geopolitical games that are hidden from public view, but not for much longer. Much is happening behind the scenes, but it will not stay hidden forever. Mars in Gandanta moves from the 7th into the 8th house. In Ukraine's 8th house, we already find Jupiter, Neptune, Venus, and the Sun. The 8th house rules transformation, control, secrecy, and radical power shifts, and also corruption. I have said many times before that, astrologically speaking, Zelensky's time as president may not last much longer. This Mars movement, together with this intense load in the 8th house, and also Ketu moving into the sign of Leo, this could mark a very, very important moment. A leadership that begins to shake, a system losing its grip, and the beginning of a new chapter being prepared. For Israel, the Sun-Jupiter conjunction in Gemini activates the 10th house, the area of leadership, government, public standing, and international visibility. This house also holds Uranus, Venus, Gulika, and Mandi, a mix that makes the energy unstable, unpredictable, and karmically charged. Jupiter in the 10th may suggest a new leadership direction. But with Ardra, it is not about building something new. It is about revealing what has been hidden. What Israel presents on the surface may no longer be sustainable. The full moon on June the 11th falls in the 3rd house, which rules communication, media, military tactics, and propaganda. With the Sun and Mercury opposite in Taurus in the birth horoscope, in the 9th house, the house of religion, ideology, foreign policy. This could bring a public revelation or a sharp escalation in religious, cultural, or international matters. A truth may emerge, one that can no longer be controlled. And then we have Mars in Gandanta, moves from the 11th into the 12th house, where Israel's natal Mars is also located. This is also very critical. The 12th house rules secret operations, withdrawal, isolation, and hidden military actions. Mars in Gandanta here can trigger an explosion beneath the surface, whether as a covert military move, a political resignation, or a breakdown of control in decision-making. Given the current highly tense situation in Gaza, and the fact that many observers now speak of genocide happening there. This astrological configuration amplifies the overall intensity and could signal a coming escalation or a sudden power shift. For Iran, in the chart of Iran, the Sun-Jupiter conjunction on June the 24th takes place in the 12th house, in the sign of Gemini. This house rules secrets, diplomacy, behind closed doors, foreign affairs, and also spiritual karma. This is an unusual opportunity. While the 12th house often symbolizes endings or isolation, when Jupiter and the Sun meet here, especially in Adra, it can indicate a behind-the-scenes breakthrough. It may point to secret negotiations, the softening of a rigid stance, or a positive turn in international relations, including with the United States. At the same time, Mars is transiting in Gandanta, moving from the first house Cancer into the second house Leo. This is also very powerful, because the ascendant is at 23 degrees in Cancer, and Vyati Pata, this is a sensitive, disruptive shadow point, sits at 0.52 degrees in Leo, right in Mars' path. This shows tension between national identity, the first house, survival and economic integrity, the second house, and potentially explosive shifts in values, currency, or resource management. It may also point to public reaction. If something hidden becomes revealed, a suppressed issue might rise to the surface, causing domestic or ideological confrontation. Mars crossing Vyati Pata could feel like a trigger point, especially if collective emotion is already charged. These were the country updates. One more thing to add for June. The Sun-Jupiter conjunction in Adra can also have a visible impact on the weather, because Adra is ruled by Rudra. Rudra is the storm god, a fiery form of Shiva, associated with wind, destruction, and elemental cleansing. This energy does not bring gentle transformation. It brings clearing through intensity. Combined with the air sign Gemini, this conjunction may trigger strong winds, tornado-like systems, hurricanes, and unstable air patterns, especially around the dates of the conjunction and also the new moon. There's also a strong element of water and air meeting, so we might see floods, heavy storms, or sudden weather events that reflect the emotional and energetic chaos that is also moving through the collective. So yes, this is a time to stay grounded, centered, and aware, not only emotionally and mentally, but also in the physical environment. The energies of June are exceptionally strong. The Sun-Jupiter conjunction in the lunar mansion Adra may seem intense or even threatening at first, but in truth it is also a gift, because Adra brings clarity. No more sugarcoating, no more hiding, no more functioning just for the sake of it. Adra is about cleansing everything that holds you back from your true path, both inside and out. And when Jupiter, the planet of higher wisdom, and the sun, the light of consciousness, meet here, a light turns on, a light that puts truth front and center. This conjunction is like a cosmic reset, a moment in which it becomes clear what truly matters. Not what you were told to believe, but what you have always known deep inside. And that is why June is a powerful opportunity for truth, for liberation, for the beginning of something real. Maybe many things are coming to an end, but that is what creates space for what is truly meant to be lived, the new spiritual matrix, which is now being activated. It is not here to overwhelm you, it is here to remind you of your depth, your authenticity, your connection, and of what truly carries you beyond outer systems. These energies are calling us into a deep inner transformation. Old stories, inner tensions, collective fears, all of it is rising to the surface. And we are still in the middle of the process. A new spiritual matrix is being activated now, and you are invited to connect with it consciously, because your soul chooses to be here for exactly this time. Allow yourself to look through the chaos. Allow yourself to feel and live your truth. This month can bring you closer to yourself than any plan ever could, if you are willing to become quiet, to listen, and to realign with your higher soul plan. Because when the Sun and Jupiter comes together, this activates something very important, your soul plan. Remember, you are not alone. You are guided and you are ready. If this update has supported you, feel free to share it with others. And if you want to go deeper, you can find all the links of my newsletter and current offerings below this video. Thank you from my heart for your trust and your walking this path together with me. And do never forget, I love you. Namaste.